What's up everyone, my name is Nick and today I'll be telling you about my story why I moved to Malaysia. This is Global Gibbon. Oh, hey, good morning. I did not expect you this early, but I guess that's fine. So let me make myself a nice cup of coffee before I tell you about why I moved from this tiny and cold European country called the Netherlands to the country where I live now, which is the tropical Malaysia. Alright, let's do this. Let's go. Alright, so here we are. Well, my journey to Malaysia started off all the way in the Netherlands, of course, when I was a young boy. My parents always used to take me and my brother on trips through Europe where we used to go camping, and that sparked a little travel bug in me. We traveled to the United States, we went to Indonesia on longer journeys, and that opened up my eyes to all these different cultures and what else is out there in the world. So in 2006, eventually I went with my parents to Malaysia on a holiday. My brother didn't join because he was in his puberty and he wanted to stay with his friends. So I went on a really cool trip with my parents for the first time here to Malaysia. So it was 2006 and I was 15 years old as we arrived in Kuala Lumpur and traveled through West Malaysia. At first we went to Cameron Highlands, we saw all the beautiful tea plantations there, and we traveled further up. I believe we went to Belum rainforest in northern West Malaysia, and eventually we took the plane to Malaysian Borneo. We arrived in Kuching and had a few nice days here in Kuching, and then we traveled all the way up to Batangai, which is a beautiful piece of jungle about 4 to 5 hours from Kuching. And over there we spent some time with the Gibbon and still live in their traditional longhouses. And that's where the story kind of begins. I hope you don't mind my overgrown grass. I actually have a grass cutter coming over in about an hour. So, let's get back to the story. So, that year in 2006 we went to Batangai and we spent some time with the Gibbon community that lived deep in the jungle there. Somehow it had such a great impact on me to see how these people lived purely with the jungle it was so nice to see. They lived in the jungle, they lived off the jungle, their supermarket was the jungle. Their only way in was by boat, by a 2-hour boat ride upriver to their little settlement, and there was no electricity, there was only a generator at night, there were no TVs, no satellites, no cell phone reception. So it was very impressive just to be there and spend some time with the people. I got a really close connection, even though I was only there for about 2 or 3 days. So I met some locals, hung out with them, and eventually went back to Kuching and continued our travels through Malaysia, and eventually went back to the Netherlands. Alright, so I'm back in the Netherlands. I'm 15 years old and I'm in high school, and I'm trying to figure out what kind of studies I want to do, when I go to university. So eventually I decided that I wanted to do tourism because I wanted to travel the world and see more of these beautiful places like Malaysia. I studied tourism, and in the second year I had to choose what I would do for my internship. So I decided to contact the company that took us to Batangai on that trip I took with my parents. I contacted them and asked them for an internship, and within a day I got an email back saying that they were interested and that I could basically come over. All right, fast forward to 2011. January, I took my first long-distance alone flight to Malaysia to start a 6-month internship with a company called Borneo Adventure. And oh, what an adventure that was. I still remember the first day I arrived in Malaysia, and I stayed at the company's guest house, and I went out for some food. So I went out for food at Chonglin Park. I still remember a little coffee shop there, and I didn't know what to order. It was all different food. It was rice and noodles, of course, which I didn't know how to eat in the morning or for lunch. So yeah, we eventually had some noodles. I didn't really like it. It was my first day here in Malaysia, and then I left a tip and I walked away. And I immediately realized that you don't leave tips here in Malaysia. So a block down, I saw this woman running after me and shouting at me, and I was like, what did I do wrong? And she came back and gave me my 20-cent change back. So that was my first interesting encounter here in Malaysia. So during that initial internship in 2011, I worked at Borneo Adventure, a local travel agent, and I managed to explore bits of Sarawak. I went to Bako National Park, and eventually I went back to the longhouse in Batangai, where I originally visited with my parents all those years ago. Now I had a great time, and I went all these adventures, and I fell in love with this beautiful woman called Magdalene. Now after that internship, I had to go back to the Netherlands to continue my studies, and I was trying to figure out a way to come back to Malaysia again. So I decided I have to come back again and do another internship because I wanted to be with the love of my life. And yeah, so I had to figure out a way to come back. So I went on another internship in 2012 with the same company. And I explored more and more of this beautiful country, and I fell more and more in love with the country and of course with this lady. Then fast forward, I had to go back to the Netherlands again to continue my studies, and again I wanted to come back here because I lost my heart here in Malaysia. So I had to figure out a way that I could come back. So I paused my studies, I put it on hold, and I came back. That was the first time I was officially a working man here in Malaysia. Alright, it is 2013 and I've officially started work here in Malaysia for the first time officially after 2 internships. So my first job was a lodge manager supervisor at that longhouse in Batangai, the one place which basically brought me to Malaysia, and it was full circle because I got to spend a year in the jungle learning about the local culture, the local Gibbon tribe, and I got to spend so much time with these people, which made me fall in love with the country and the people over and over and over again. So I started living in Malaysia full-time with no more breaks of having to go back to the Netherlands, and yeah, I got closer and closer with this girl, the love of my life, and I became close with her family. Her family took me in as part of their own. I traveled extensively through Malaysia and met all these different people and visited these beautiful national parks and saw this amazing wildlife everywhere. Yeah, during that period I decided, well, this is what I want to do. I want to stay here. And then I asked my that time girlfriend to marry me, and now fast forward again, I've been here for 10 years, we're happily married. This is where I want to be. So to sum it all up, the reason why I came to Malaysia, the reason I moved to Malaysia is the people. And initially it was Batangai, the place I spent a lot of time, and it was the people that, latched on to me, and the communication you have with them about their lives and all the things I learned from them. And later on it became Magdalene. She became the reason why I stayed. And I love it here. The food is amazing. The people are amazing, as I keep saying. The nature is amazing. It is always good weather here. Sometimes a bit hot, but it's never cold, even though I do miss the cold in the Netherlands once in a while. But it's such a great place to live. You can go out into the jungle. You can travel around. and see all these different places nearby and far away, and it's such a diverse country. So this is definitely a beautiful place to settle and to live in. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave that thumbs up. Why don't you leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. I upload videos every week, and I guess we will see you next week. All right. Bye-bye.